When someone you love attacks truth, think celestial and don't question your testimony. The Apostle Paul prophesied that in the latter times some shall depart from the faith, giving heed to seducing spirits and doctrines of devils. There is no end to the adversary's deceptions. Please be prepared. Never take counsel from those who do not believe. Never.
Hi everyone, I don't believe, and I would like to give you counsel now. It's me, Uber Mormon, and I want to talk to you nice folks today about my first Mormon doubts and how I got over them and why I got over them and how you can get over your Mormon doubts too. I'm going crazy, I think. I want to tell you a short story today, provide some context to this doubt that I had. Really ask an honest question here of any active members who are watching. What is your honest opinion of this doubt? Is it a valid doubt? And have you ever had it? I'm going to take us way back in time to the months leading up to the 2016 election. I got back from my mission in June of 2016, okay? And that was the first election I was allowed to vote in. And that was a crazy election. That was the craziest election that I have ever seen. Although now, debatably, it was Biden versus Trump that was the next craziest. And probably this year's will be even crazier. So we're just in this awesome spinning cycle of things getting crazier and crazier. The writers of this season of life are really at the top of their game. So I want to take us back to that time. Put yourself into my shoes. I'm voting in my first election. I've been raised to be a Republican. You know, I'm a Mormon. I grew up in Salt Lake City, Utah. I'm Republican. You know what I mean? I'm also in a point of my life where I'm kind of questioning everything. And so while I have been brought up my whole life to believe that Hillary Clinton is a war criminal who deserves to go to prison for Benghazi, essentially, and the deaths that happened there. I'm also watching Trump, and I'm thinking this guy seems not like your standard presidential candidate, and I don't know who to pick. And so I just decide I'm just going to research everything I can about both of them. I'm going to look at the pros and cons of both of them. I'm going to make my decision based on that. And so it was really weird to me how possible this was. And it really introduced me to like what an echo chamber is for the first time in my life. Watch videos put out by the Trump campaign on why Hillary was a bad candidate. And I was blown away. But I was just like, wow, what a crazy bitch. What a terrible person. I would never vote for her in a million years. And then I would say, okay, well, now I have to be fair. So I would go to her campaign and I would look up why I shouldn't vote for Trump. And I was like, man, what a dumbass. What a idiot. I can't believe this guy's running for president. I could never vote for him in a million years. And then I would say, okay, well, now I've looked at the negatives for both from the perspective of the other. Now I need to look at why they think they should be president. So I go to Clinton's campaign and I'm like, why does she think she would be a good president? And I'm like, oh my God, this lady is amazing. My parents are so wrong about her. All the people in Utah are so wrong about her. She's a great, all she's ever wanted to do is help, blah, blah, blah. Then I go look at the Trump stuff and I'm like, this man is amazing. He's been around for so long. They only suddenly have a problem with him now that he's running as a Republican. What a coincidence. I'm going to vote for this guy. And so I'm just like bouncing all over the place, you know? I'm like, she's great, she's terrible. He's great, he's terrible. Who's Gary Johnson? That was like the headspace that I was in. It was my first election, and I just wanted to do a good job and not be influenced by the way I was raised and not be influenced the opposite way by the way I was raised. I didn't want to vote for Clinton out of spite, and I didn't want to vote for Trump just because that's how I've been raised. I really wanted to think about this and do something that was me, that was just me, just using my own voice in the way that I was allowed to by voting in an election. I'm probably over-explaining this. As I'm doing so much research on these two people, it started to gnaw in the back of my brain that I had never done this type of studying about the church. I had always done Moroni's Promise. I had always read whatever literature or propaganda or whatever you want to call it that had been released by the church, and I had never done anything else. I had never had this much scrutiny towards the topic of the validity of the church.
What a lazy learner.
I realized in that moment that I was being very thorough in my political life, and I would attempt to be very thorough in any other life that I had. And if I was trying to think of something scientifically, I would try and be thorough, and I would try to be fair, and I would try to account for what the critics would say and really steelman my case. But when it came time to research whether or not the Mormon Church was true, I took them at their word, and I didn't question it any more than that. Seriously, very lazy learner. First, I want to make the point that the catalyst theory, for something that really started to push me down the hill, so to speak, of researching the truth claims of the Mormon Church from both sides, was this feeling that I was not being consistent, that I was not having logical integrity. I just kind of want to make my intentions clear here. Although it doesn't personally matter to me if there are people out there who don't believe me, I'm speaking right now. I'm speaking to the person who's in my shoes all those years ago, who is maybe a little worried about what others will think or something like that. Don't worry about them. Worry about what makes you feel like you're basing your life off of something real. Do what makes you feel like you're being consistent with yourself and you're being honest with yourself. I arrived at the conclusion that if there is a God who loves me, then he's not going to be upset with me because I have genuine questions. And he isn't going to ask me to be logically inconsistent as I honestly search for answers. And so with that in my brain and with that kind of resting on my heart, I gave myself permission to look into the crevices of the Mormon Church and just see if they had any validity. A lot of people have this notion that people who leave the church do it because we really want to try alcohol, or because we're addicted to porn, or because we want to have sex with other people, or, even things as simple as like coffee, or, oh, you were just bored in Sunday school. First of all, everyone's bored in Sunday school, so that's not really a fair, because a lot of people stay too, so you can't say, well, you stayed because you were bored in Sunday school. That doesn't really make any sense. There's this idea that we decide that we want to leave, and then we retroactively or post hoc come up with any excuse that we can think of for why leaving is okay in our case. We kind of do special pleading for ourselves. And we say, well, the church is good and the church is true and all that stuff, but I'm good without it. And that's what they think that we're doing. And I'm here to tell you that is not what I did. I thought that God loved me and that God cared if any of this shit made sense to me. At this time, I thought, well, if it's not true, it's a different religion. And that God would want me to then find him through that religion. My goal was to look at everything just like I had with the election, be as honest with myself as I could, and then take the necessary steps forward that the truth would require of me. If that meant I go to a different church, I was prepared to do that. What I eventually slowly discovered is meaning is a thing that you make, and it doesn't matter what religious organization you want to affiliate yourself with, because the meaning is such an inherent part of human life. And most organizations are actually trying to figure out how to launder the already very present meaning that humans experience and say, well, you got that because of us. The Mormon Church does it through marriage, and through baby blessings. They say, oh, you love this person? Oh, you love this person? You want to spend the rest of your life with this person? Well, guess what? That's only possible through this one thing that we do. You kind of need us for your love to be as real as it is. And they launder their way into your marriage. And they launder their way into you having your first child and taking it in front of a room and telling it all of your hopes and dreams for it. They launder themselves into something that mattered without them. Thank you for watching. Have a great day, everybody. Be nice to your moms and dads. Always brush your teeth. Look both ways before you cross the street. Wear a seatbelt. When you take a shower, try and get actual soap on your feet, like going between the toes and stuff, because a lot of people just let the water fall down their legs, and then they never actually even rub their leg or their shin or their foot once while they're in there, which is kind of crazy. And that's all. That's what I would like. That's the most important thing I've said this whole video, and I would like to end it with that. So goodbye.